Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14, verses 1, the first verse. The chapter is entitled The Disappearance of Lord Krishna. We just wrapped up the chapter entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home, where Dhritarashtra, Kunti, and Gandhari quit home. Vidur comes is delighted and grieved. Narada Muni informs what happens, informs Maharaj Yudhishthira what happens, what took place when Dhritarashtra quits home into the forest. So now we're going to the next chapter of how the Lord disappears, and we're happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, you're muted.
Most people like that when I'm muted.
Not the group here, Maharaj, for sure.
They would give me a muzzle, but they can't find one to fit.
Maharaj, they dare not get one.
But I continue on babbling along.
Thank you, Maharaj, and it's all yours, Maharaj.
Okay, my obeisance is Hare Krishna. Guys, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sudha Uvacha Sampastite Dvarakayam. Jishno Bandhu Didriksayam Jatim Chapinasmakasyam Krishnaya Chana Vichestitam. Sutta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwarka to see Lord Krishna and other friends, and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord descended to the earth for the protection of the faithful and the annihilation of the impious. So after the battle of Kurukshetra and establishing a Maharaj Yudhishthira, the mission of the Lord was complete. The Pandavas, especially Sri Arjuna, were eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore Arjuna went to Dwarka to hear from the Lord of his next program. Go on to the next verse. Verse number 2. Yata katichin masat taranaya tatorjuna dvadasangera rupani nimitani kudurvaha. A few months passed and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens which were fearful in themselves. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. Millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing period. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy, and only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence. Just as there is full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. Maharaj Yudhishthira observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwarka's well-being. He suspected the disappearance of Lord Krishna, otherwise there would have been no possibility of fearful omens. Umagyanti Mirandasya, Janardana Savakaya, Chaksu Umbilitam Yena, Asmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Sutarne, Panchakopattaru Vishya Kripa Sindhu, Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So, Krishna has completed his mission. He has rid the world of the demoniac forces. He has established King Yudhisthira on the throne. He has spent much time with many of his devotees, Arjuna, Kunti, Yudhisthira, the Pandavas, and many others, including grandfather Bhishma Dev. And now it's time for him to return to the spiritual world. And so so there is an indication by the change in the atmosphere. What is that change? There are certain signs, they're called omens. And these things exist. You can read about them. There's books about omens. The Vedas also have a whole section describing the different omens. And these things are indications of something that is inauspiciously happening or something that is about to happen, either one. And intelligent people pay attention to these omens because they can help one to adjust one's activities to avoid some inauspicious. But here, these omens are indicating of something much larger than just some day-to-day reverse from the ordinary activities in life. They're indicating something great has changed. And therefore, Yudhisthira, he's seeing that there is discrepancies in his kingdom. People are lying more, falsity, a lot of false pride. He's seeing within the individual characters in his kingdom that people are developing bad qualities. And he's also noticing in the atmosphere certain atmospheric signs. Just like we read in the in the Krishna book, which is really a summary of the 10th canto, that if you're riding along or even walking along and you see deer passing on the right side, and then you know everything is auspicious. You see a man carrying a full bucket, that means it's auspicious. If you see a man carrying an empty bucket, that means things are inauspicious. So there are many signs. Even we say that, one should not walk underneath a ladder. One should be careful of Friday the 13th. Even in the Western thing, they have their suspicions, their indications. But one who is very sensitive and also intelligent can observe these inauspicious omens and therefore understand something is wrong. So as it says here, there would be no possibility of these fearful omens. These are very powerful omens. You'll see the description as it comes in the very beginning of the chapter, what these omens are. And then after some time, Arjuna shows up. And he is in a very decrepit situation, and he describes what is happening with him and how everything is changing in his life for the worst. And everything centers around the fact that Krishna has left the planet. And his disappearance is described in the 11th canto, where the Lord, acting as an ordinary personality, appears to be killed by a hunter by being shot in the foot with an arrow. Two things are wrong there. One is that the Lord cannot be killed. And the second one is that even an ordinary person doesn't die being shot in the foot with an arrow. So, but the Lord chose that particular way to leave the world. so the atheistic class of people could maintain their atheism. In other words, he doesn't want to interfere with the non-devotees' disbelief in him, because that's what they desire. So he helps to fulfill that desire by not acting contrary. Just like there was one famous atheist, forgot his name, but he was popular in the US. And he would come on public media or do outdoor programs. And people would come and he would speak his atheism. And one time, which was noted, he said, if there is a God, and then I challenge him to strike me dead within 5 minutes. So he makes it this very forceful declaration that he's willing to give up his life just to prove that there is no God. Just in case there is a God, but he's willing to put himself on the line. So, but he's so sure there is no God, so he makes this challenge. And then he'll stand there for 5 minutes and everybody's waiting. And after 5 minutes, nothing happens. He says, see, this is proof. And everybody says, oh, yes, very good. Yeah. If there was a God, he would have destroyed you by now. But Prabhupada heard about the same statement, and he said, yes, that God is not subjected to our, whims. We can't expect him to act the way we want him to act, and then use that as validations or invalidations. God works according to his own plan, and he's not subjected to anybody's cries. And therefore, Prabhupada said, yes, he may have not killed him then, but he eventually will kill him in due course of time. It is called Krishna's energy in the form of death. So, when Krishna leaves, everything becomes inauspicious. And this is also true in spiritual life. When we see when the spiritual master leaves the planet, and then irreligion rushes in quickly. We saw that when Srila Prabhupada left. Many bogus theories, ideas, and falsities about Srila Prabhupada started appearing in books and in speeches by certain devotees. Well, this is a characteristic of the material world. Whenever a great personality leaves the planet, then things go down. Therefore, it's up to those who are following that great personality to keep his mission alive by working in a very concerted way to broadcast the same thing that the spiritual master broadcast. So therefore, when that is done, not only by a few, but by his disciples, then the legacy of the spiritual master continues. And then religious principles may take a dive for a little while, but then after some time, they come back and will even come back even stronger. So this is the way the world works. And when Krishna leaves, the same thing happens. When Lord Jesus Christ apparently left also, then so many ideas of Christianity were given by his followers, which were all bogus and falsified. Well, that's the way the world is. Sometimes people pray for these great souls to believe so they can, do their nonsense. So as devotees, we should be very careful to follow the instructions of our spiritual master in all situations, and especially work according to how he wants us to work. And Srila Prabhupada has given us, and as the representatives of Prabhupada also, who have given us the same theory that everyone should preach Krishna consciousness, and according to their level of capacity and their level of facility that allows them. And therefore, when everyone does that, then the spiritual master's present, although not physically is present, becomes present by the power of those who work accordingly. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, do what I am doing. And of course, when we take that statement literally, we think, wow, how is it possible that we could do what God is doing? But we have to understand the message in that statement means I am preaching, you should also preach. I am trying to bring Krishna consciousness to others, you should also make that a focus of your spiritual practice. So that's what, and it says that those who take up the mission of the spiritual master, they live with the spiritual master eternally. They're never separated. Srila Prabhupada used to say that about his own spiritual master. He says, because I'm always trying to follow his instructions, I am never separated from him. I feel his presence always because he is always with me, guiding me on how best I can follow his instructions by preaching Krishna consciousness. So that is the nature of a sincere devotee, to want to serve the spiritual master by doing what the spiritual master has come, that is to collect and elevate the conditioned soul to the platform of pure devotional service. But you'll see, and as it's explained here, that when the Lord leaves, when a great soul leaves, or even when the quality of life takes a dive in the atmosphere, in other words, if a collective set of people, a large amount of people become more and more sinful, then the karma of the planet starts to go down to the lower levels. And then there is a lot of sinful activities. And then the earth also reacts by causing calamities as a way to punish the sinful activities. And he is also feeling disturbances when people commit great sin, just like when they detonate bombs on the earth. They shake up the earth. When they drill deeply into the earth, they're also exploiting the earth in different ways, for either for gold or for oil, or for various metals that the earth contains. And so that's a great disturbance in the earth, and then you achieve very inauspicious occurrences happen in the atmosphere, such as droughts, famine, earthquakes, forest fires, shortages, food shortages, the basic necessities of life, and the earth would normally. Just like Prabhupada when he was in London, when he was asked a question by one television interviewer, it was a very popular show, and Prabhupada was on there. They asked him, Swamiji, what is your conception of hell? And Prabhupada said, London. It shocked everybody, including the interviewer, and it made the front pages of the London Tribune. The next day, Swamiji calls London hell. But then Prabhupada went in to speak. He said, you know, you have this small island, it's always dark, cloudy, it rains, foggy. The sun very, very rarely comes out. But he said, if you go to India, the sun is out every day because people are pious, people are religious, and therefore the sun is always shining. Of course, except in the monsoon season, it's different. That's just one time during the year. So, yeah, so whenever there is piety, the earth and all of the luminaries also give their benefit upon the earth. When people are sinful, then everything goes in the opposite direction and people suffer. And the quality of life diminishes. So everything was beautiful when Krishna was there. The demons were being killed, the devotees were being protected, the devotees were being exalted. Krishna was exchanging loving relationships with his devotees in Vrindavan and in Dwarka and in Mathura. And everything was wonderful. Although there were some calamities with demons, they were gradually being removed one after another. But then when Krishna left, a whole different situation started to enter. There's a beautiful story in the Mahabharata. It's a long story. In this age, after Krishna left, so many calamities started to happen in people's lives. And gradually. But this section of the Mahabharata goes on to describe that although there are so many calamities and so many difficulties, all because of the disappearance of Krishna and the advent of Kali Yuga, still there is one boon, Kalir Doshani Dira Janasti Eko Mahagun, Kirtana Eva Krishnas, Yat Mukta Sangam Param Vajet, that despite the calamitous and very dangerous situation in this Kali Yuga, and it's very dangerous, and there's always threats of war, pestilence, and various kinds of calamity, even religious organizations. Many times are threatened and also sometimes destroyed. This is Kali Yuga. Still, because there is one benediction, and that is chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then the bright sun of Krishna's mercy shines upon those who take up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One can be freed from all of the difficulties of this age and also make progress towards the goal of life, love of God. So, therefore, as we'll see here that Krishna left, but he left himself. Of course, that didn't happen immediately, but it came a little later on. He left himself in the form of the holy name. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced it. And that was about many thousands of years after the disappearance of Lord Krishna. About 4,500 years after the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the manifestation of the Krishna's mercy manifested as the supreme sun, which will elevate everyone to the platform of eternal happiness and knowledge. And that is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. But here we're seeing, and this chapter is really interesting. You can actually study it and see. And there's a whole series of verses which describe the conditions one after another. And that comes up pretty much in the beginning of the chapter. And then Arjuna appears and he is despondent. I won't go too much into the chapter itself because it'd be nice we all read it as it comes up. But Arjuna is in distress. Yudhisthira is wondering why. And then there's a series of questions given by Yudhisthira to Arjuna to try to find out what is the cause of his distress. Okay, so we'll stop there and we'll open it up.
Thank you so much, Marsh, for such a wonderful class and really shedding some light on how, at the end of the day, it's the holy name that will save us. Thank you so much. Would like to ask your voice. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that we can all turn our videos on wherever we are, if possible, and so that we can see each other and Marge can see us and we can have each other's association. Would like to ask the devotees if any questions, any clarification, any doubts, please do raise your hand and I will call in the order that I see it. Marge, you talked about omens, Marge, and I was just curious to know, how important does omens play in a devotee's life when we know that everything is sanctioned by the Lord?
Well, Prabhupada followed some of them. For instance, it says it's inauspicious to travel on Thursday. And it's inauspicious to travel on Ekadasi. Usually devotees who travel on Ekadasi have to take extra precautions. And I've seen, and I've also experienced, how things go wrong when you travel on Ekadasi. And if the Ekadasi is on Thursday, you get a double whammy. It's not that it's just like inconveniences come up. Like I had a ticket. I was in India. I was traveling from, I think, Delhi to, where was I going? From Delhi to Calcutta. Well, Calcutta to Delhi, I think it was, yeah. And everything went wrong. They came to the wrong terminal. Then when I realized, I came to the terminal, they told me it was the wrong terminal. Turned around, walked away, then I found out it was the right terminal. And then when I went in, I checked in, they gave me the gate, and there was the wrong gate. I was standing in the line in the wrong gate, almost missed the flight. And then when I got on the flight, finally, we went and landed, and the people who were supposed to meet me, they came to the wrong airport. So I was thinking, yeah, Ekadasi ki jai. Of course, I was happily going through the whole thing because I knew it was just due to Ekadasi that these practical things going on. And I'm driving, and it says you travel on Thursday especially between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. That's the most difficult time that things can go wrong. I remember I got a flat tire during that time. So, and Srila Prabhupada, when he had to travel on Thursday, the night before, on the Wednesday evening, he would take his shoes and point it in the direction that he was going that night to indicate he's leaving now. So he used to do that as a way to counteract the inauspiciousness of traveling on Thursday. The Prabhupada would do that. But Prabhupada followed some of the omens too. Just like if you get a quiver in your left side of your cheek, you can know that something is going to happen that's not pleasant. For men, it's one side. For women, it's another side. I know a lady, she was just about to go to work. She jumped in her car. And then the quivering on the left side of the cheek was very strong. And she noted it, but she continued on. She drove down the street, and all of a sudden, she crashed into somebody's mailbox. When later on, she said, I can't figure it out. I was driving, all of a sudden I crashed. I don't even know how it happened. So there's omens that happen. And there's people who can see, even devotees can see that something inauspicious is about to happen, or something auspicious is about to happen. That happens in the lives of devotees. I have a book, it's called Omens. It's online. If you want, I'll send it to you. It's interesting.
Yes, Marge, would like you to read it.
Don't get too much into it because you could take away from your Krishna practice.
Absolutely. Actually, Marge, I was going to say that next week we have temple presidents meetings in Houston, and I'm flying on a Thursday. So please pray for me, Marge.
You should have known not to pick Thursday.
March, we had to arrive. They said that we have to arrive for the pre-orientation on Thursday by 4 p.m. No, 5 p.m. and my flight lands at 4:50 p.m. So I'm going to do some extra prayers on that day. Probably I might do what Prabhupada does, put the shoe in front of the door.
You put a shoe the day before.
The day before, I think I'll do that, Maharaj, because yeah, we were asked to report on Thursday between 2 to 5 on 3 to 5, something like that, on Thursday evening.
I travel on Thursday, but I'm very extra careful, and I always chant as much as I can. But at the same time, I won't travel on Ekadasi though. I 100% avoid that.
I do avoid that. It's prasadam itself is a headache.
Yeah. But I came across this book. Somebody gave it to me called Omens. I have it on. It's in hard copy. No, soft. What is it? When you have it online, what is it called?
Ebook. Is it what it's called? Ebook? I don't know, Maharaj. I think it's called.
Hard copy means in the hand. Soft copy means online.
Yes. I learned something today too.
Yes, soft copy.
Thank you, Marge. Yes, Marge. Yes, because there are a few devotees that requested that they would like to. They're interested in reading the book, but as Maharaj said, we shouldn't get too deep into it and block the flow of Krishna consciousness.
If you get too stuck, then you won't do anything. You have to realize that Krishna consciousness is above all of these things. But there are certain things that are signs that something is about to happen that is either inauspicious or auspicious. You can note them simply by noting the environment around them. Just like if you watch people sometimes, you'll see some days they seem to be more mellow, relaxed, and other days they're just as passionate as hell. And that is due to the modes of material nature. You can see that.
Thank you, Maharaj. Actually, Maharaj, when you were mentioning about the left eye and the right eye, that one I've noticed for me, it tends to come true, especially when for women it's the opposite, like you said. And whenever it twitches, something happens in the extended family. It's always either sickness or death, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Everything is past, present, and future. And the time element is already there. So if you can, there are people who can go into the future, there's people who can go back into the past.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, Namrata Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaj, for this wonderful lecture. The omens are really something we should pay attention to. We tend to ignore them, but sometimes they're, yes, helpful. Obviously, praying to Krishna and taking the holy name. So my question was, in the material world, loss of parents is considered a big loss, and in spiritual world, spiritual master is a big loss for us. So sometimes devotees feel that separation even while spiritual master is on the planet. Why does that happen, and what to do about it?
They feel the separation from the spiritual master while he's still on the planet.
Yes.
Why?
Maybe the fear of loss of spiritual master.
Well, he's available. If the separation is in the mood of service, then that's understandable. But not physical separation. That's correct. Unless they feel because they're not able to travel or can't afford to travel, they feel the separation of the spiritual master. The spiritual master just doesn't come to their area or something. Well, it's just normal.
Okay. So Gurmaj, is actually I do feel that thing because even so even if though even if I hear those devotees who have who doesn't have their spiritual masters on the planet, when they talk about it, I do get a little, you know, confused. I mean, I feel oh, I still have to do a lot, I still have to learn a lot from my spiritual master. What if there's a loss and something is like overwhelming in this situation? How to deal with this?
It's the mind created anxiety.
Okay.
If you're following the instructions of the spiritual master, you're connected. I mean, I could read you something I just came across today. I think it was posted by, I hope many of you read Mahima Mahi's daily post called Srila Prabhupada's Nectar. Please read that. It comes on your email every day, Srila Prabhupada's Nectar. And she's been doing it for years. And she picks the best quotes from Prabhupada, really good. And then, you know, I just read one today, which was, I think, posted a couple of days ago, about separation from the spiritual man. And it's the same old understanding that we hear all the time, that the connection with the spiritual master is through his instructions. And the more you're connected with those instructions, the more you're connected with the spiritual master. It's not just the instructions, you have to make a conscious effort to connect yourself with those instructions and meditate on those instructions. Think about those instructions and be enthusiastic to carry them out. That's the connection. Enthusiasm brings the realization of the connection, and not just the instructions alone brought that enthusiasm to follow.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, we have all the instructions from a spiritual master. Even Prabhupada has said that keeping. I mean, I was never separated from my spiritual master. We should go in that footsteps. But then, since I was feeling that thing, I realized that yeah, the mind must be playing with me.
Well, if that separation is due to not following, then that's an indication that your connection is not so strong. And strengthening that connection by hearing more, by going back over the instructions that the spiritual master gave you, or just his general instructions, which he gives for everyone.
Mm.
We have to realize that we are being attacked every minute by living in this material world, by falsity, lies, irreligion, compromise, various types of qualities that are indicated of this age of Kali that destroys good qualities. These things are all so much in the atmosphere. And sometimes we associate with people who have these qualities. We also get a little bit affected by them. But if we take our relationship with the spiritual master as in a lackadaisical way, then it'll be like that.
Mm.
Krishna consciousness is active. It's a mentality of activity. It's not something you just routine go through the motions. That's called aldakshina. That means laziness, lackadaisical, apathy. And that could cause us, after some time, to reflect, oh, yeah, I'm feeling some separation from my spiritual master. Because I'm not following his instructions or not seriously taking them.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
That gives me a red signal. I must intensify my relation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that's true for everyone.
Thank you, Namrata, for a nice question. Yes, Sridevi Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you, Ansuya. Your Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances or glories to Prabhupada. Maharaj, how do we distinguish between actually seeing the omens as they are versus becoming superstitious and imagining things?
Don't become superstitious and don't imagine.
Okay, so that means be absolutely clear that you actually saw something or you experienced something and not just conjure it up or think you saw something.
That's only you can determine that.
Because the mind can also trick us. No, Guru Maharaj, it's always tricking us all the time. Oh, I think my left eye is twitching, or I think, I saw a black cat crossing my path and things like that. Sometimes the mind just tricks us also.
Sometimes, all the time. Somebody's telling you, don't take it easy, have a little sense gratification. Don't take this, you can chant. You're chanting, you're a devotee. But don't become too much. Too much is, there's more to life than just being a fanatic. Maya's always whispering. And she comes through the mind, she comes through different channels. keep good association, and then you'll be free from that. Always chant the Holy Krishna Maha Mantra and you'll be protected. Always remember Krishna. We think it's too hard to always remember Krishna, therefore we don't try. We think, oh, that's for people who are, pure devotees. They always remember Krishna. I'm not a pure devotee, and so why should I act like that? Not for me. Everyone should practice that principle to try to always remember Krishna. That's your success in bhakti. You remember Krishna or you're with Krishna?
Mm.
And then the omens won't be so confusing or so bewildering.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Sridevi. Any other questions from devotees? Anything that's coming that you would like to get clarified? Any doubts? Please do raise your hand. Marge, when you were speaking about, when you were answering Namrata's question about spiritual master, wanted to ask a question, Marge. Is the legacy of the spiritual master different from Srila Prabhupada's legacy and mission? Normally.
You mean our spiritual master?
Yes, Marge. Like, say, for me, example, Bhaktivedanta Swami's legacy.
Well,
To
how
me-
it plays itself out is very individual. So there are different moods among spiritual masters, but the essence is the same. The essence is to preach and spread Krishna consciousness. How it's done, that may be different from guru to guru, at least to some degree. So as long as you're following that principle or trying to follow that principle of spreading Krishna consciousness, then you're connected to the legacy, both with your guru and with the acharyas. They're all the same. All the acharyas come in the same line. They all have their way of delivering the message. But the message is the same. Give up material life and take the spiritual life.
Thank you, Marge. Thank you. Yes, Dinanath Prabhu, please go with the question, Prabhu. You're on mute, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. Maharaj, in line with this question, just following on what you have replied, so how important it is to follow in the path of your spiritual master's way of preaching for a disciple?
If you want to make that an absolute principle, then it doesn't apply. But the idea is there are different ways to preach, and you can't say that the disciple has to do it exactly the same way because the situation may be different, the facilities may be different, the abilities may also be somewhat less with certain devotees. So, but the idea is to preach or to reach out to others. Sometimes we use the word preach and it gives a little bit of a narrowistic understanding, but so the better word is to be an instrument for the mercy of the spiritual master in the lives of others. So some people they take up positions as so they can do that. Others do other things. You could write books, you could write letters, you make phone calls, you can give classes, you can think of ways, you can hold programs to invite people. Just like Prabhupada writes, here, turn to this one. Here's a very standard thing that everyone can do. Anasuya, go
Yes,
to
Maharaj.
Canto 3, chapter 21, verse 31.
321 verse 31, Maharaj.
Yeah. And we'll go
21 verse 31.
quite a bit lengthy purport.
This is the discussion between Manu and some Krishna, right, Maharaj? Something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share it now, Maharaj. There we go.
Okay, go down the page. I'll tell you where I'll begin. Okay, keep going. Okay, keep going. It's a long purport. Okay. Okay. It is indicated here that Candramauli is directed by the Lord to be very compassionate and liberal in his household life and give assurance to the people in his renounced life. A sannyasi, one in the renounced sort of life, is meant to give enlightenment to the people. He should travel going from home to enlighten. The householder, by the spell of Maya, becomes absorbed in family affairs and forgets his relationship with Krishna. If he dies in forgetfulness like the cats and dogs, then his life is spoiled. It is the duty of a sannyasi, therefore, to go and awaken the forgetful souls with enlightenment of the eternal relationship with the Lord, engaging in devotional service. Devotees should show mercy to the fallen souls and give them assurance of fearlessness. As soon as one becomes devotee, he is convinced that he is protected by the Lord. Fear itself is afraid of the Lord, therefore what he has to do with fearlessness. Okay, here we go. To award fearlessness to the common man is the greatest act of charity. A sannyasi, or one who in a renounced order of life, should wander from door to door, village to village, town to country to country, all over the world, first to enlighten the household about Krishna consciousness. Here we go. Now this is the point. A person who is a householder but is initiated by a sannyasi has a duty to spread Krishna consciousness at home. As far as possible, he should call his friends and neighbors to his house and hold classes in Krishna consciousness. Holding a class means chanting the holy name and speaking from Gita or Bhagavatam. There are immense literatures for spreading Krishna consciousness, and it is the duty of each and every householder to learn about Krishna from his master. There is a division of labor in the Lord's service. The household duty is to earn money, but a sannyasi is not, and then the Prabhupada goes into something else. But he says here, householders should gather their friends and family members, hold programs, and talk about Krishna, chant Krishna's name, and of course also distribute prasadam. Go back up the page. There's one point that I wanted to preface this whole discussion with. Let's see. Keep going. Down a little bit more. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, here it goes. This energy should be utilized for seal. One is a person in Krishna devotee is the Lord is always compassionate. He is not satisfied only if he himself is a devotee, but he tries to distribute knowledge to devotional service to everyone. There are many devotees of the Lord who face many risks in distributing the devotional service of the Lord and people in general. This should be done. Here we go. It is also said that a person who goes to the temple of the Lord and worships with great devotion, who does not show sympathy in general or show respects to other devotees, is considered to be a third-class devotee. The second-class devotee is he who is merciful and compassionate to the fallen souls, and then it describes the quality of a second-class devotee. So we want to get out of that stage of third class and move into the stage of second class. And here's the characteristic. He serves the Lord, makes friendship with devotees, acts compassionate toward people in general, teaching them devotional service. and refuses to cooperate or associate with non-devotees. As long as one is not compassionate to people in general and is devotional, he is considered a third-class devotee. The first-class devotee gives assurance to every living being that there's no fear of material existence. Let us live in Krishna consciousness and conquer the nations of material existence. That's the key point there. And then Prabhupada goes on to say what you should do. Invite friends, family members, and others, and hold programs. Invite your sannyasi, traveling sannyasis who come to your home, have programs.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is very enlightening. Thank you.
And it's a very powerful point.
Thank you
Yes.
for asking that question, Prabhu, because I was going, ow, wow, on my end. Powerful purport. Thank you, Marge. Thank you. Marge, there's a question here by Srimati. She can't speak. She's got a cough and a cold. And her question is, how can we measure sincerity? I feel sincerity is based on circumstances and how much opportunity we get to serve.
If sincerity is based on circumstances, that means you're seeing things, you're seeing devotional service in a material way. That's material vision. Sincerity should not be affected by circumstances. That means that your sincerity is not really strong, but it's based on getting something from the activity. So there's a motivation there that is not spiritual. You're sincere. It doesn't matter what your situation is, you'll remain sincere. And you're working that way.
Hope that I'm sorry, Marge.
So sincerity hasn't really developed, or it's polluted with personal interest.
Sometimes she says sometimes we have to say no to a service. So I'm thinking what she's saying, Marge, is sometimes when we have to say no to a service, does that mean that we are lacking sincerity?
Depends on the situation. If there's a reason for saying no, that is that you can't do it because of certain reasons, or you're busy at that time, or for whatever reason, that is not a lack of sincerity. But if you say no because, well, it's just inconvenient, or I don't want to do it, maybe ask me to give me another service. So saying no is not always the indication of lack of sincerity. For certain cases that just doesn't, you're not able to do it for whatever reason. But in certain cases, then the first thing is that when you get a request for a service, you should think, how can I do it? That should be the first thought, not like, how can I not do it? That means you're insincere. But sometimes we have to, say that we got more than we can handle, and we just are unable to do it because it'll take away from other things. We just have to evaluate the situation. But the first indication should be is, how can I do it?
Hope that helps, Srimati. She says, thank you. I got the clarification now. Thank you. Sridevi, please go ahead.
I just would like to share something about, Guru Maharaj's instructions and how that was helpful to me in this situation. You see, on Radhashtami day, I was requested to give class online on Radharani to a congregation in San Antonio, Texas. evening for them and early morning for me, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I said, no, 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 I cannot do this. 6 o'clock in the morning, no way. It's my chanting time. I'm in the temple. It's Radhashtami. I'll be going for Mangalarti, etc. I just dismissed it. I said, no, 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 I'm sorry. This time won't work, etc. And then I began remembering how Guru Maharaj had said in the class, whenever you get an opportunity for service, try to see how you can do it. And so I started mulling over it and I said, oh, well, maybe if I get up half hour early, I can finish my, morning rounds, and then maybe I can come back home and then I can do the class and again go back for Darshanarti, because that's the very special Darshanarti. And so somehow, Guru Maharaj's mercy, I actually managed to give the class at 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30. And it was simply ecstatic, because then I moved into that gear of how can I do the class nicely. I went and bought the book on Radharani. I immersed myself in reading about Radharani's glories. And then we had a wonderful discussion. And I was absolutely dancing my way back to the temple in the morning after the class in time for Darshanarti. And Radharani's mercy, I don't know how it happened. I actually managed to finish my rounds also, which was totally amazing. I don't know how that happened. And then I realized, because it's a special Darshanarti, the temple postpones the Darshanarti by an hour. They hold the class first and they postpone. So just Radharani's mercy, Guru Maharaj's mercy, and I got to give the class. It was just really amazing, simply by listening to Guru Maharaj, how the things changed. I just wanted to share that.
That's a very nice real life realization, Sri Devi. Sometimes we need the real life to know that it's not just a fable or fairy tale, it's real life. Thank you. Somehow we lost Candramauli Swami. His call dropped to something, waiting for him to come back. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure he'll come back. But yeah, and what's coming to my mind, Sri Devi, is that because you got empowered by the spiritual master, when we get empowered by the spiritual master to do it, it always happens. So you just got the empowerment, and then everything went smooth, sailing smooth for you. That's what I think.
Just Guru Maharaj's instruction, really,
Yeah.
that instruction he gave to all of us. Actually, it was said in class that whenever you get an opportunity, because I remember asking this question, how can, do service? Sometimes there's a conflict, sometimes you're, already committed to something and all. And at that time he had said, always try to see how you can do it. Always try to see how you can accommodate the request. And if it's absolutely not possible, then of course you have to say no. But then, if you're really trying, Krishna just makes something happen and then you can do it. But the best part was, for me, something that I was so reluctant and I just dismissed it. I said, no, 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 this is not possible. I'm not going to do it. It's just too much. I have to chant. This is my chanting time. That's precious, etc. Everything just flipped over, and it was one of the most ecstatic classes ever, because it was so interactive. Everybody was sharing. It was unbelievable. I was literally dancing my way back to the temple after the class. I got benefited the most, to be honest. I got benefited the most by simply trying to follow that instruction.
I think sometimes what happens just from your sharing, Shudev, thank you, it was a very beautiful sharing. I think sometimes what happens is, when someone asks us to do service, the mind becomes a rascal. It's just waiting for an opportunity for us to think more about ourselves. So then the first thing we say is no, because we want to think about our plans. And then, but when we put Krishna first, then everything else falls into place. Thank you. We got Candramauli Swami back.
Yeah, my internet dropped. That's all right. Okay, I think it's about 10 minutes over, right?
Yes, Marge. Would just like to ask your voice if you have any last minute questions, any reflections, any takeaways, please do jump in right now before we end the class. And if there isn't, oh, today is Srimati's birthday. Maharaj is asking for your blessings, and we should all pray and wish the best of the best for Srimati.
Happy birthday, Srimati. Hare Krishna.
We wish you the best of the best, Srimati. Happy, happy birthday. And I'm sure you'll get the best of the best of the best of the best from Candramauli Swami. That always happens. Maharaj just got up, so we'll wait for him to come back. And that's what I was going to ask you, Maharaj. You just read my mind, Maharaj. We will chant one round before we end this class. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and I mentioned that I'll be giving class tomorrow and Thursday. So.
Yes, Maharaj. I was supposed to make that announcement. I apologize. I completely forgot. Thank you. Maharaj will be giving class tomorrow morning and Thursday morning. So please do block your time, block your calendar, and attend the class for the next 2 mornings. Hare Krishna.
Mhm. Yay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Mark, for such a wonderful class and giving us your time and your association. And we thank all the devotees for joining us. Just a reminder, please do not forget that March is giving class tomorrow morning and Thursday morning. So please do block your calendar and your time. Until then, we thank you all and have you have a wonderful day, whatever's left of it. Vanchakaptiyascha kripasindhavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Anasuya.
Thank you.
I am grateful for your presence.
Maharaj, please don't say that, Maharaj. I'm 10,000 million to the infinity of the power of zero. Grateful to you for engaging me, Maharaj.
I will reveal some of the secrets later on in a at the right time.
Thank you, Maharaj. It is my good fortune, Maharaj. Thank you.
There's only two people who know these secrets.
Ah,
Me
am I the
and Srimati. That's me.
okay? All right, Maharaj. I will wait for the secret.
All you have to do is do some self-observation and you will learn all the secrets.
Yes, Maharaj. I will work on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much for today.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare
Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol. Have a wonderful day, devotees.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.